All right, there we go. All right, my friends, QQQ. So we have a couple of different overlap zones we're watching for this target short. Now, remember last time I wanted to see some confirmation underneath CPI to bring it back down to maybe the bottom or at least the algo top, right? So we didn't get that, didn't confirm, and literally did absolutely nothing. It went sideways all day, which was part of the plan, right? So the two things we have seen down here, we have this high at CPI, and then we have the momentum above the algo, right? So that momentum above the algo and the CPI led us for two Fibonacci's to bring over to today, which brings us a double overlap from the CPI and the algo, which is right here. But like it shows, and like we said on the Qs, unless we get under 625 with speed, it will just scam and do the opposite. So right now, everything is perfect to the downside. RSI channels, MACDs, QQQ, SPY, so just obviously go long. Everything is telling you short. Can't do that. So it's going to pop right now, guaranteed up to the fair value gap as we posted a million times, plus the anchor breakouts we had posted in the Discord. So right here, we had the two top downs posted, and we said, watch right there at 6882 and some change. You're just going to get scammed out, and it's going to go. And she's breaking out right now to 85 as called. So very easy to see the scams coming here this morning. So when we say wait to short till the open, that's literally what you got to do. So here's the setup. We have a high of 628 with this really interesting overnight algo that you don't see much. We're going to box that off, and the high lows on the 5-minute there, obviously. And we'll look for a top pick here. And like we said, a high sweep would be best case scenario scams waiting for the shorts to plate. What does that look like? Well, pretty obvious. This is the high of pre-market, comes down, does the rollover here. We call, right fake, pushes back up, sweeps to the top of the GP of this massive guy. So we're going to keep that channel on that we had just drawn, and we know now that the overnight algo, the one that pins 628 perfectly to the TIA, as well as our 321 up there for the CPI, that's going to be targetable fences to the upside, right? And just because we have a paired 1-minute gap lower and scam shies with 100 and so on and so forth does not mean we have to go down there. We're just looking for an ample trade under the VWAPs, right? So that's where we got our overlaps today. 624 is the back. We need it to come down to there. Even if it wants to continue long, I could care less. So the only other thing we are looking at as far as zones are concerned is the typical 3 a.m. algo right here. That's when the stocks start trading in Central Time. So if you do fib that out, again, we already have it triple overlapped now. So if you see that, you will see the fail of the 1618 here or the top of the channel hit. It's literally identical. So we didn't fib that out. We have too many overlaps, right? So if you were to draw one here of that 3 a.m., chances are, obviously, top of the algo channel we just drawn, 2618, overlaps, don't need it. And then anything under the 1618 here would be downside, but we said this lower high. So again, this one does not matter. We already had it hit the GP here and ring out past the 1618. So another scam up to here before it wants to relax. Sure, why not? We won't be entering short until it's under the VWAPs as called, but we do have free longs on right now on the way back up because it's guaranteed money. So the volatility index, what we have right here, is a chance to hit, hopefully, 100 EMA and other, right? So let's back this up here again. When we get this instance, it is very crazy that the algo scam hold this bad. We broke it Thursday, right? Never to test on Friday at all. No 100 EMA 5-minute at all. And then brings us to today for a gap down and another no 100 EMA tag. That is very, 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 very hard. Now, again, the VIX is very low, 15, 16, so follow through to the downside is 0% with speed, guaranteed to suck today. We'd have algo magnets down, but we're not going to count on those, right? So as we come into that 100 EMA potential tag, you can see the last trade day on Friday, scam shied here, walked itself down, huge gap down. So what we want to see is a hold of 1550 and above. We'll give it another slip factor because obviously everything is perfectly downsided, so it should not do that. Remember, just do the opposite in pre until the algo switch to live. It's been that way for years. Saves us a lot of hassle on trend. So the VIX needs to say, hold 1550 right here, and then a chance to go to 100 EMA or yesterday's lows. That's it. So the volatility index needs to get over this RSI, let the MACD eat here, let the market scam up here, gives the sweeps, maybe even highs, blah, 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 short that. That's it. We don't really care what the market does anywhere in between that. Just only let it sweep highs or only go to the fair value 5-minute above, all posted in the Discord there. So we'll be using the best we can. And anybody that's in stream that doesn't have a Discord invite yet, we're trying to relink that on the new site. So use Discord as much as possible, since I will be posting the pictures and comments off of those pictures. So that stays true to the word. So the best part is going to be under the 50. So halfway zone right here, obviously, right? Big old algo needs to stay under. If not, we're going to snap up, and that's going to be short. So you're only going to get a short from the 50 halfway point GP right here, or you're going to get a opportunity to see that full scam up, sweep highs, so on and so forth, then drop down to those double fibs. And if it doesn't, it's just going to range out to the top of that algo, and it's 423 next and 3618. So we better hope for a beautiful open to either pop the short, sweep the pre-highs, or just a slide under the 50 down to the zone of 624. That's the only trade I see right now. If we take it over to ES, there's really no difference. It's a gap up to all-time highs. These are the worst trade days ever. Like we always say, there's nothing to do. We have to be very careful. So we'll go to the ES chart. This is what we're posting last night in the chat. And again, note here, RSI spending a lot of time in the downside there, kind of half and half. After some hot pushes, we got trapped, couldn't hold over the 50. Now it's starting to grind up again. Pure manip here. Really, really good setup for us to go short for open. So we got the 5-minute gap up here. Massive, right? 68.90. And what is the number one rule, class, of waiting for first tags? You wait for your moving averages and just go long, right? Whatever the pending is. That was simple as that. So what did we do last night? We said we hope to see a gap tap on ES so we can go long. Here's that low. No gap tap, but the standard rules apply to always wait for the moving averages, go long. Every single time. This does not fail. Huge gap up. Does absolutely nothing. Moving average, boom, pops, right? Even if it's just to the prior highs, doesn't matter. That was 7.5 points for free. And then the second it gets over the moving averages, it targets higher, right? Boom, right here. Moving averages, now you were targeting 68.90, didn't get there yet, doesn't matter. Next moving average. Let's back this up a little bit. Look at how easy this is. Comes in, 100 EMA, bounce. 200 SMA, loop, big push. Holds 100, hold 100. Almost hits target, scam shy. Right? 68.90, flops, scam shy 6, scam shy 6, don't touch it till it hits. Boom, another free trade. 3 moving averages, 3 trades at 100%. All you had to do is wait for a 1-minute catch up. 666 here again. So the 5-minute fair value gap and paired 1 minutes. You will look down here and you will have a paired 1 minute here. Okay, 3:37, 3:38 a.m. Central. We got a large gap right there on the ES. We are looking for a premium entry to try to drag that back down. If you bring up both charts, the NQ and the ES here, we have 1 minute on both. So it is paired at the exact same minute. We have that 1 minute gap down here. Again, we've seen these fail, and because we are in a gap up all-time high, grinder, there's no such thing as resistance. We're only playing extensions, and in all honesty, we're just really not playing at all. Because this stuff is just that boring. So when it's grindy like this and we don't have breaks and we don't have confirmations on moving averages, we don't even have a good resistance check, because all we have is the live all-time highs that couldn't even reach to the gap up top candle. So it's just sitting there consolidating for years at a time, only to pop through later on, right? So typical consolidation, force up, all-time high grinder. The only trade I see is the 5-minute fair value rejection here to chase down those paired gaps. So we're going to target hopefully the paired gaps below. And when we get to the 5-minute chart, so make sure to mark that off in NQ if you didn't. That's your 779 there. And the ES as well. And then of course we need to get the VIX is the only catalyst here that matters for us to get a nice sweep at the open here to break out. So these gaps right there, 877, oddly enough, 779, 877, cool. So those are the 1 minute pair gaps. So we are looking for anything under the fair value here at the 5-minute down to here. That is the entirety of the trade, needs to stay under. It's great risk to reward right now, even if you're entering right now and managing on the micros, very easy because your stop out's obviously above the highs. And then if you get the roll down in speed, great. But the anchors are at 883.25, the 1 minutes, and you're looking to get under there with speed for those free 4 to 5 points. So right now you're waiting for this digestion to come back, and we're waiting for a couple different signals here on the 1 minute. Now, one thing you can see is we have a pretty interesting 1 minute right here. I'm not always fibbing 1 minutes out, but this 1 minute right here does tag all moving averages. 200, 110, extend that to the right like we always like to do. In this cycle right here is a little promising for the 1618 tag as well, potentially lower. So what are you seeing here? This algo, perfect 1 minute no tag GP, 100, 210, every moving average cycles 666, scam shies the 666, could potentially sweep that and hit, and then breaks back down into the 423, reaches 2618, pushes back up. Anything weakness under and breaks into that 423, we will find that big pivot target 25,806. So that one is a little higher, right, than our gap, but really good sense of range for the Fibonacci for more meat on the bone. So something I would look for the QQQ is that trap right there to a lower low. If this wants to stay under the 666, just this 1 minute. And again, we don't have a whole lot to go off of because of just how ugly everything is. So it must stay under. So 1 minutes do tend to blow off top at 6662, but this one has a really good moving average set. So you can already see the recycle had happened perfectly. You always wait for it to get close to the 666. You always short it down to the 4. You got a bonus round here down to the 2618 recycle. So if we start to see some real good weakness back inside the fib range, we can magnet wash an entire lower high scenario here, all that break of structure, anything under this right here, it's all downside metric. So we'll stick to our shorts under anchors. We'll stick to our shorts to the gap magnets. We'll stick to the potential shorts down here. And it must stay under that 666 if we do get those sweeps. Now, you can manage accordingly on size positions on both. Both of these are very manageable on micros. And looks like we're shining that 5 minute again. Probably won't believe that too much, but we'll see. And yeah, that is that. So we'll see if the VIX can go to the 100 EMA 5 minute. That is key. And then we have the opportunity to see yesterday's lows get tapped as well. But it must lose the anchors of 6,883, right? So best case scenario is under 886 down to that 1 minute gap here for the ES opening range short.